If your child checks out the moment something feels hard, or they start to have a little bit of a meltdown because they can't do it quickly or easily, they whine about walking to the car, they just want to lay on the couch and do nothing, you've probably heard they're just being lazy. Let's be real. Lazy isn't a medical condition. It's often just the body doesn't have enough fuel left over for them to show up. Here's what gets missed. What's called laziness in kids often starts with the nervous system being in overdrive for too long. When a child mouth breathes at night, they sleep restlessly. They're constantly chewing on their clothing, clenching, trying to stay alert. They crave sugar, which is a dopamine hit. Their brain and body grow into save energy mode. They're trying to preserve what they have left, not because they're unmotivated, because they're tapped out. They're running on fumes. Their system is shutting down. It's saying, save whatever you have that's left. Let's not expand that energy. Does this sound familiar? Here's some signs your child's not lazy. They're just depleted. They want to take a nap after school. They avoid physical play. They resist a lot of movement, or they're really, really fidgety. They sit in it with their legs out in a W. They have slouched posture even when seated. They're picky eaters. They go off in a zone. Just like us, when we're running on empty on fumes, we can't focus. We need to have a time out. Kids are the same way. They're little people. We ask a lot of them during the day. We're asking them to go to school with virtually no downtime. It's just thing after thing after thing. Lazy is just a label we use when we don't see what is actually happening in the body. We don't see the load that's happening on our kid's body. Here's something that you can do today. Add one chewy food into their afternoon snack. Seriously, try dried mangoes, beef jerky, raw carrots, celery, anything that takes a little more effort for them to chew. Why? Because it activates their jaw, their facial muscles, their chewing. When they have to chew more, it improves oxygen flow. When they have to breathe through their nose and they chew more, it gives them more CO2 nitric oxide exchange. When kids yawn, that's actually giving them more oxygen. When they yawn, that's maybe a sign that they're not getting enough oxygen, which increases alertness. So yawning actually wakes them up a little bit and reboots their nervous system. Doesn't solve everything, but deep breathing exercises are the first step to help the body recharge the tank without giving them a lecture, yelling at them, and giving them more discipline. If you haven't done so already, download my 10 red flags that parents miss. It walks through some of the nervous system signals that are hiding in plain sight and how to shift from shame to support. Go ahead and click the link below and it will give you tools to help your kids feel like themselves again. They don't need to try harder. They don't need more discipline. They need someone to look deeper. And most of the time, that's you that needs to do that. If you missed these signs earlier, don't feel bad. You're not a bad parent. You didn't know. I didn't know, which is why I'm sharing this stuff now. My daughter's 20, but when she was 13 is when I noticed this stuff. Once I started learning this, I saw signs when she was 2. So I could have helped her, but looking back doesn't matter. We just look forward. We can do better for our kids if we start looking at things through a different lens. We can help our kids shift out of survival mode, out of fight, flight, freeze mode, to help them thrive, not just survive during the day. If you haven't watched the previous videos, go back and binge them. This was a series of 5 videos talking about all the different things that happen that come down to mouth breathing and the central nervous system deregulation. Puts all the puzzle pieces together. Not all kids have all of these symptoms, but you don't want to miss these signs in your kids because it's time that we start helping our kids thrive. Not yelling at them, not putting more discipline, not looking at their behavior. Your child's not broken. They're communicating silently the only way they know how, the only way the body knows how. And once we start looking at these symptoms and we find these symptoms, we start listening better, looking for these signals that their bodies are telling us, we can start helping our kids better. Thanks for shifting your perspective and shifting habits, how you look at things. When we shift habits, we can change lives. Just one simple habit can change your life. SHIFT stands for Simple Habit Incentives for Transformation. If you'd like more information besides just watching these YouTube videos, I have a podcast and I also have a SHIFT method course. The SHIFT method is a whole system of what to look for from birth and beyond. I add new things every month as I learn so I can help your kids learn, grow, and develop. There are things that I wish I would have known when my daughter was younger, but I see this more and more with my one-on-one clients with myofunctional therapy, and it really is effective affecting our kids. Our body is not able to process a lot of foods, and it's creating this circle. Our kids are not getting the proper nutrition that the body needs. It's affecting their sleep, it's affecting their oxygen, it's affecting the water intake and the absorption. None of this is going to change until we shift to make a difference in our child's life. We are their only healthcare advocate. Our healthcare system looks at symptoms, not at root causes. Some of these things are really simple that we can see early. The earlier we see it, the earlier we can address it, the earlier we can help and get different interventions to help our kids, that things that are less invasive, get them out of fight or flight mode, get them out of survival mode, and actually help them start thriving and enjoying life. Our kids are our future. When we look at things differently, you don't know what you don't know. When you do, when you finally know, you can do better. At least I hope. We can make a change and we can shift the way we look at things. One simple habit. Habits that accumulate on top of one another. What we teach our kids now are what they're going to teach their kids. The future generations. We are creating a legacy for our kids, for our grandkids, and for generations to come once we start shifting and looking at things differently. Thanks for watching and have a great day.